Hi, I'm Eve Young, domestic affairs and economics correspondent for the Jerusalem Post, here in our studio in Jerusalem with Michael Starr, our diaspora and Jewish affairs correspondent. Mike, thanks so much for being here with us
Thank
today.
you for having me, Eve.
You're so welcome. You're here to give us an update on campuses, anti-Semitism, protests, the whole shebang.
I thought I was here to talk about the Leafs leading Ottawa Senators 3-1 in the Stanley Cup.
That's your next segment in our upcoming Canada
Okay.
special.
All right.
Tune in for that too, viewers and listeners at home. But first, let's start with the campuses. We had the past year has seen super dramatic encampments. They've caused a ton of headlines around the world. We saw 3 attempts at new encampments in the past weekish. What happened?
So yeah, there were 3 encampments.
Encampment attempts, really.
Since the last year, since April, when the encampment phenomenon kind of developed. Universities have really developed new policies, especially regarding protests, when, where, and what manner you can protest. And especially since the Trump administration crackdown, they've enhanced their policies or stuck to enforcing their policies even more so. So at Yale, you saw last week, protests that were formed in response to an impending visit by National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir. They said, we're going to stay all night. We're going to set up an encampment. We're liberating the grounds, the university. Around 11 o'clock, the university personnel started issuing warnings, or the final warning was at 11 o'clock, and they packed up and left, but still declared it was a victory because it showed that they were willing to escalate. Wasn't much of an encampment. They did set up 8 tents, but besides that, nothing. They left the tents there, and then the staff had to clean it up. In Colombia, there were reports that encampment was going to be leaked reports of a signal chat that a encampment was going to be set up. Colombia said in advance, you set up a encampment, we will be taking action according to our policies. That and the leak seemed to be enough to prevent any encampment from materializing. At City College of New York on the 24th of April, a group, Company for Palestine, did try to set up a encampment, and public safety officers for the school system pepper sprayed a bunch of them, it looks like, and their attempts to liberate, as they call it, did not happen. They fell back in the end.
So you mentioned the Trump administration crackdown kind of as part of measures happening against different actions on campus.
Right.
Let's talk for a second about the opposition to that. We've heard some kind of major Jewish figures, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Deborah Lipstadt, who was the former envoy against anti-Semitism, and also Jewish organizations like Hillel coming out and saying the Trump administration is either going too far or kind of using anti-Semitism as a fig leaf to cover up reasoning for other actions. Tell us a bit about the criticism and about kind of what are the two sides of this?
Well, the United States is a deeply politically polarized country right now. So one school of thought is that any action that is taken by any political force is going to be met with an equal and opposite political policy reaction. So it could be that some of the opposition that we're seeing is just that. It just Trump does X, and then so the Democrats have to do Y. Otherwise, if there is genuine concern, there's concern by these organizations that, in their words, that Trump is weaponizing anti-Semitism to, yes, push reforms that would prevent discrimination, but also promote other ideological changes, such as removal of DEI policies, and to try to introduce more conservative ideological viewpoints in the faculties and staff.
Can you give us, like, in a word, kind of, I think people are questioning what is the connection between DEI and anti-Semitism? Like, I think that's like one of the policies that kind of is raising people's eyebrows a bit as to why are you fighting anti-Semitism allegedly by fighting DEI policies?
So, first of all, the Trump crackdown is addressing both anti-Semitism and general radicalism by elements on the campuses, which often overlap with anti-Semitism. When it comes to DEI, critics of the DEI who are coming from the anti-Semitism concern angle express that DEI discriminates against Jewish students and faculty when it comes to hiring practices and admissions. The argument is that they're with hiring or admissions that they're either favoring non-Jewish students or trying to dissuade Jewish students from accepting positions or seeking opportunities that would otherwise be available to them.
Okay, interesting. I think we can see kind of why that's a concern that's a little confusing to some. It's not very clear-cut connection, but thank you for that kind of explanation. Let's talk about the Trump administration's most recent executive order relating to this. Fill us in.
So there's of course the current entanglement between Harvard and the Trump administration that's expressed in a lawsuit. But what has been less looked at because of the lawsuit is recent executive order against foreign funding and gifts and influence in American universities. The Trump administration put out an executive order, mostly putting the responsibility on the Department of Education, trying to enforce more transparency about where their funding is coming from, who's the actual source of this funding, how much are they getting, where is it going. So the Education Department and the Attorney General have been authorized to take more steps to enforce the pre-existing legislation on this issue. And the executive order didn't explicitly state that this is for one thing or another, but the person who's been empowered, Education Secretary Linda McMahon, she has explicitly stated that this is going to be addressed to specific countries that she's concerned about. Is China, which has been accused of stealing intellectual property through its influence in American universities, and Qatar, which is influencing the way in which the Middle East and Israel is being taught about at these institutions.
So, while not directly expressed as such, it's seen as kind of part of the fight against anti-Semitism on campuses because of
tangentially, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about SJP. What's going on? We've had a few dramatic SJP incidents.
So SJP has seen a lot of suspensions and bannings over the course of the last few weeks since the beginning of the semester, and even in anticipation of the semester, because of the organization's roles in various protest actions, even vandalism and other activity. Most recently, Yale SJP chapter saw disciplinary action because of the Yale protest, and in Bryn Mawr College, SJP and JVP were received an interim suspension.
Wow.
Pending disciplinary action because of their role in disrupting a welcoming event for students.
Mike Starr, thank you so much for this update on everything anti-Semitism on campuses.
It's been great.
I wouldn't say actually it was everything,
but wonderful.
Everything in the news in the past week.
Everything we could get to.
Everything we could get to in this short time.
Right.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you for having me.